Good morning. This lesson's a little tough to do as an online lesson because it had a lot to do in class with experiencing things. So we're trying to figure out the best units to measure certain items because we have lots of different options for measuring. So an example would be, well, how big is a centimeter? Should you use centimeters to measure a football field? Or should you use centimeters to measure a pencil? Should you use centimeters to measure a hair, like how thick a hair is? So you kind of need some experience knowing what those are. So I would encourage you to, 1, measure things, and 2, go to the grid. The very last slide has common items in your everyday life that are certain sizes. Example, the width of your pinky is about a centimeter. The distance from the tip of your thumb to the first knuckle is about an inch on most people. A foot is about the length of a football, stuff like that. So you can kind of get an idea of the differences in the measurements, okay? So go there to look for some ideas to help you. What I want to help you with in this video is kind of understanding the difference between length, volume, and weight or mass. Also, when we measure length, area, and volume using length measurements, so length measurements might be things like centimeters or meters or inches or feet or miles or kilometers. All those kinds of things measure length. If you're only using measures of length to do area, then you have to have units squared. If you're just using length, units of length to measure length, you just have the unit, right? And if you're using units of length to measure volume, it's units cubed. Because remember, you're multiplying length times width times height, okay? There are some units of area, like an acre, which aren't squared because an acre is only used to measure area. Same kind of thing with volume. Like in volume, you can use a quart to measure volume, but a quart isn't squared because a quart is not measured length. You wouldn't say, well, my leg is 3 quarts long, because quarts are used to measure volume, and usually the volume of a liquid. Similarly, things like cup, or pint, or gallon. Okay, on the first page of the grid, there's a graphic there. It looks like a robot that helps you to see how many cups are in a pint, how many pints are in a gallon, in a quart, and how many quarts are in a gallon. If you look at that, it will kind of help you with that. All right, but some other units for volume could be liters, which we don't use a lot of, but that's the size of water bottle I always use, liters. And what makes up a liter? Milliliters. Okay, milli means like 1,000th of, okay, versus kilometer would mean 1,000 meters. So smaller, bigger, right? So you got to understand that. And then weight, you know, we're kind of used to ounces, pounds, tons in order from small to big, right? There's 2,000 pounds in a ton. But they could also be things like grams or kilograms. Kilograms would be 1,000 grams. So would you measure a mouse in tons? Well, you could, but it would be a ridiculously small fraction or decimal, but you could measure it in tons. It would be smarter to measure it in grams or ounces because it would be a number that would kind of go with the size of what it is. So that's kind of what the lesson's going to talk to you about today. And then also review on your ratios. So good luck.